Imagine trying to navigate a world where absolutely everything is either flawlessly perfect or a complete disaster. There is no middle ground, no compromise, and zero room for human error. You have likely dealt with someone who operates this way. One day, they treat you like their greatest friend, and the next, a single disagreement transforms you into their worst enemy. Society usually writes these people off as being overly dramatic or having a highly intense, passionate personality. Psychological science suggests a different reality. Researchers have begun identifying these patterns as symptoms of a specific cognitive limitation. This phenomenon is known as black and white thinking. Current research explores how this uncompromising mindset serves as a biological indicator of a brain's raw processing capacity, or its lack thereof. To understand this behavior, we have to look at how a brain processes information. Reality rarely offers easy answers. It operates in deeply complex, nuanced shades of gray. Handling nuance requires cognitive energy. Holding competing truths, like a good person making a bad decision, demands massive raw processing power. A highly intelligent, flexible mind carries this load with ease, finding nuanced solutions without the system becoming overwhelmed. Individuals with lower intelligence, however, struggle to maintain the energy required for this level of depth. True intellectual depth relies on this mental stamina, the ability to sustain the friction of opposing ideas without the brain breaking down. When a brain lacks that stamina, it faces a crisis when confronted with overwhelming nuance. Psychologists call this state cognitive rigidity. It describes a brain that has lost the ability to think flexibly or adapt to new conflicting information. The rigid mind perceives complexity as a direct threat. It senses an impending overload and desperately searches for a way to stop the mental strain. The brain finds a survival shortcut. Instead of analyzing, it bypasses complex pathways and drops the problem into two absolute bins, all good or all bad. This binary sorting mechanism requires zero brain power, protecting an intellectually weak brain from total exhaustion. We often mistake this extreme categorization for a sign of strong convictions or strict personal ethics. But these mechanics reveal an automatic biological defense mechanism designed to shield a struggling brain from the effort of complex thought. This internal shortcut has a high external cost. A rigid sorting system often poisons a person's ability to regulate their own emotions. Data from psychological studies show that lower IQ and cognitive rigidity correlate with poor emotional control and low emotional intelligence. When the real world introduces a situation that doesn't fit into these strict mental boxes, the results are explosive. Like a piece of rigid glass, the framework cannot bend. It shatters. Because they cannot logically process the stress of the moment, these individuals often react entirely on impulse, lashing out aggressively over small inconveniences. This makes rational conversation nearly impossible. Introducing a new perspective or challenging an absolute viewpoint is often met with immediate hostility. These individuals frequently mistake a logical disagreement for a personal attack. Healthy debate requires cognitive effort they simply cannot afford to spend. When you encounter this hostility, recognize it as a reflection of their cognitive limits. Attempting to reason with a rigid mind often results in a wasted effort. A black and white mindset acts as a psychological prison, isolating the individual from the complexity of the real world. To keep upgrading your own intellectual flexibility, hit the subscribe button